Today we will talk about percent basics, primarily decimals and percents. Percents are basically fractions that have a denominator of 100, or percents indicate parts out of 100 parts. So if we talk about 2%, what we mean is we are taking 2 parts out of 100 parts. So if you remember the fraction notation, if we have 100 pieces, all we are doing is we are taking 1 and 2 parts out of it. You don't have to have 2 out of 100 left in this form. You can actually go and simplify this, 1 out of 50. But it will nevertheless mean the same thing, 2%. Let's do another problem. Let's say we are talking about 10%. What 10% means, you have 10 pieces out of 100 pieces. What that means is you have 10 pieces out of 100 pieces, and that would be 10%. And you can actually go ahead and simplify that and write 1/10. Now, this 2% and this 10% would be percent notations of these two fractions. Let's go and look at another one. You don't have to have within the 100 pieces. We can talk about, for example, 150%. What that means is you have 100 pieces out of 100, which will be pretty much this whole area, and you would have 50 pieces out of 100. So here is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this would signify 150%. Now let's try to connect percents to decimals. If we have 2%, as I said before, 2% means 2 out of 100. So if you want to go from percent notation to decimal notation, all you have to do is take your fraction, which is 2 over 100, and divide them doing long division, or use your calculator. 2 divided by 100, and if you remember, the decimal division is 0.02. So 2% would be 0.02 in terms of decimal. Let's try another example. 50%. What that means is 50 pieces out of 100 pieces. And you go and you do your long division, 50%. 50 divided by 100 is simply 0.5. So 50 out of 100 is simply 0.5 in decimal. Now let's look at what happens when you have 100%. 100% means 100 pieces out of 100, which means 1. So 1 in decimal, and you know that 1 is the same as 1 point or 1.0, is 100%. How about if we go and we try to find some funky percents? Let's say 0.2%. So you don't have to have a whole number before the percent sign. What 0.2% means, 0.2 divided by, 0.2 divided by 100. So let's do the division ourselves. 0.2 means you have your decimal point here, 1, 2, and here you go. You have 0.002. So 0.2% is simply 0.002 in decimal notation. How about a big number? 300%. What that means is 300%. 300 divided by 100 is 3. So 300% is 3 in decimal notation. So what are we doing when we go from percent to decimal? Let's write these steps. What you're doing is you're writing it as a fraction out of 100. So you take your number and you write it out of 100. And to get to the decimal notation, you're pretty much dividing. So you're taking it 0.2%, 0.2 over 100 and divide 0.2 by 100. 300%, 300 over 100, divide 300 by 100, you get 3. So you're taking your number, whatever the percent is, when you have a number percent, you're writing it as number over 100 and you're simply dividing. Now let's try to go back. When you had a decimal, let's say 0.2, and we want to go back to percent notation. Now you have to do the opposite for that one. You take your 0.2 and you're going to go and you're going to multiply it by 100, which gives you 20. And then you are going to put the percent notation. So 0.2 is 20%. Let's try 1.2. So what we do is we take 1.2, multiply by 100, you'll get 120, and you put your percent notation. So this one is 20%, the second one is 120%. You can also take a very small number, let's say this one, 3,000s. You take your number, multiply by 100, that will give you 0.3, and now you put your percent. 0.003 is the same as 0.3%.